You can find me on X at hashtag Kangaroos, Instagram hashtag Kangaroos Podcast. Also live on YouTube now, so feel free to jump in, ask some questions to Claire. And I'm once again joined by my weekly correspondent, Claire, to review another win against the Gold Coast Suns. Makes it an undefeated season. Claire, welcome to the show. But before we get into all that and dig through the weeds, you have another article on your Substack you want to talk about, Claire. Let's go. What's it about?
Dean, I've put all my nightmares and all my fears into.
I did see that.
Into a maybe 500 to 800 word little blog post. It's sort of been sitting on my chest from about maybe probably when I woke up this morning to today. I just thought I need to get this out there, and I wonder how people will respond to this. And you've been magnanimous as you per usual. You're just such a little confidence booster. Whenever I have a little meltdown, you're sort of in the DM, sort of being like, "It's fine, we've got this. We're going to win the whole thing, Claire." But for me, I guess I just sort of ran through the question that begs at my mind is that, can we win this, and what if we don't? And I guess I was talking to my dad today about how this is a statistic for you. So Melbourne United, who are the top of the NBL, Melbourne Storm, and then the Sydney Swans are all a pattern of teams that finished at the top of the table but did not reach the ultimate prize. And so I was ecstatic on Saturday night, sort of wandering around Arden Street, just soaking in the glow of being minor premiers, but the sort of doom and gloom of it all kind of hit me today, and hence the blog post. And it sort of just goes into, with a little bit of detail, that I honestly think that the only way that North can't win the flag at this point is if it's their own undoing, it's their own demise. That's realistically, I can see them beating everyone. It's only if the systems or things don't hold up, if there's little failures in that system that potentially things could go wrong. I think that they could be, potentially their biggest villain. However, that being said, I'm really trying to, it's so binary. It's either a flag or bust at this point, and that feels a bit strange to me, especially as a North Melbourne supporter. Whereas last season, we were sitting on this podcast and we were just so happy to win week to week and grow as a club. Whereas, I don't know about you, Dean, but for me right now, it feels like if we don't win a grand final, what has this season sort of all been for, And I just wondered whether other North supporters, I guess, feel the same way as that. So do you agree? Do you think it's flag or bust?
No, not really. I still look. The main thing for me football is I'll get to enjoy and watch a product that I really enjoy, and I love the way they play, and I love those girls. Based on the fact that they're all very humble, they play a good brand of football, which is, to me, it's the most important thing. You win a flag, you go to work on Monday. You lose a flag, you still go to work on Monday. Things still move forward in life. Whether you win or lose. Look, I'd be so happy if they won a premiership, and I think they will. I'm pretty confident they will. Based for those girls, because they all deserve it. They're all quality, high quality girls. That's why I want to win it mainly. But I've really enjoyed watching them and mainly covering them for the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy covering them for a number of years, next 5-10 years. Even when we don't become, Jasmine Garner might move on and Ash Riddell or whatever happens, I'll still enjoy and I'll still, watch them every week. So, look, I don't think it's the be all and end all, because I'm pretty confident they will win the premiership this year, unless they get cruelled by injury or or something like that, that are out of their control, which I can't see happen at the moment, unless the fates have gone against Europe or something like that. But that's the only way I could see something happening. And a team gets lucky, they kick straight and we don't kick a straight or something like that. So, but it's everyone's different, I guess, in that regard. Everyone looks at it differently. I'd love, for the men's just to, I enjoy every win now. I appreciate it a lot more. Whereas back in the 90s, we won every week. And I obviously enjoyed it. But looking back on it, we had Wayne Carey. He was a bit of a waker off the field, obviously.
Yeah.
We had a few issues, and like even the last few years we've had Taron Thomas running around. It's like it's kind of hard to cheer for him.
It is, and I guess it also, like you said, these women for the past couple of years, or since they've been in 2019, they've given us a sense of pride back, I think, as a football club, and I agree. I remember when they lost the grand final, we all stood sort of clapping them off, and it was devastating, but there was also a sense of, I guess, pride in the fact that they got so far and they've given us something to cheer and support about and to really invest in week to week. So I think it's really important that you're very good like that. You level me out, Dean, because I get very emotional. I fly off the handle, but you're right. I have thoroughly enjoyed potentially the greatest season of football of my lifetime, potentially, because I was too young for the 90s. I was about 8, 7 and 10 years old for that time period. So I feel like this has just been the peak of my time of enjoying football. And I think it's really careful that instead of writing off an amazing season just because you don't want to flag, the love and the joy that they've sort of rang me and brought me across that journey has been, amazing. So it's nice. It's nice for someone like you to remind me of that, because the bit of gratitude doesn't go astray, does it? So
no, that's right. It's the key to life. Being grateful for things, and sometimes you just got to be grateful. Watching Jasmine Garner run down the wing, or Sarah Rocket and an intercept, whatever that brings you joy at the end of the day. It's not the be all and end all. I don't think when I'm on my deathbed and I'm drawing my last breath, I'm going to think about, oh, geez, I'm spilling with that premiership in 2024 or anything like that. I'll remember, the joy of watching Jasmine Garner play. But similar to the 90s, I love watching Kerry play. He was so arrogant out in the football field. I just loved it. Like, he was so hated by the opposition. I loved it. And I drew energy watching that. And that's something I really enjoyed. And I love watching the blue collar of Anthony Stevens, Glenn Archer. It's something I took probably for granted back then. But I appreciate it a lot more now. Like in about 10, 20 years' time, I'll probably appreciate a lot more when looking back that I got to watch Jasmine Garner, Ash Riddell.
Mia King,
she's a gun.
You know what I mean? And even like Taylor Gatt, just see that goal that she had on the weekend. It was just ridiculous. Like 3 touches from half back, and then she goes and just puts it on her boot and it rolls through. So, you're so right. We're living in a very, sublime time to support the club, and irrespective of this, it's the gratitude that you take. And I tell you what, Dean, standing on that hill, a couple of beers deep and watching us sort of, take apart, dismantle Gold Coast Suns, a club that they asked us to go to, a club that they told us that we should relocate to, and winning a minor premiership again. I got quite emotional. I sort of thought this is what happens when good people come together and fight for something that they believe in. And that's, after the game, everyone packed in to get signatures off the girls and hang around and have a kick and things like that. And I guess that it's at its core, that sense of community that is North Melbourne has always been something that I've always really been drawn to, and it's the gratitude that I have for those moments of the game where, you're with people that in the same colours and fighting or loving and shouting about something that you all love together. It's quite special, isn't it? It's quite unique. So
it brings people together.
Absolutely.
Because it can be divided very quickly outside of a football club, and you start yelling at people in traffic and start getting in arguments with people at work and stuff like that. So football definitely brings people together, and that's what football clubs do. And that's another thing I love. They always hang around. It's not just a one-off thing on the end of home and away season. They did that generally pretty much after the game at home, that they'll sort of hang around and take the time to take photos and chat to supporters. So that's
they're extremely generous kind people. Absolutely. They're a good group.
No, definitely are. I guess it was a little satisfying getting a big win against the man in Cam Joyce, who has played a big part in the men's program, being mediocre for the last 5 years, Claire, with some of the list decisions he made. Is that just me?
It's so funny. That's what we were sort of yapping about on the hill, is that the aura of Cam Joyce being at Arden Street again is just, it doesn't sit right with a lot of North supporters. But look, he's getting his karma back at the Gold Coast. Like his head might be on the chopping board, to be honest. But yeah, there's a lot of questionable decisions that Cameron Joyce has made in his time as interim at North, and I'll tell you what, he wasn't clapped back into the stadium, Dean. He was probably booed out of it if people sort of saw him. But look, very questionable man, but he's with the Suns now, so and they've got a very interesting off season to think about where he, as a coach, will remain, I guess.
Did he? I don't think he coached in the finals last year, did he? It was pretty close, wasn't it?
Oh, did he?
It was close.
I don't know. I actually don't remember whether they made it or whether they.
I think they just missed. I don't know 100%. So he's obviously, I mean, they've had a few injuries.
Look, they fall away. Their mids are not bad, but they fall away pretty quickly because the engine room's got nothing really to kick it to.
They got that good ruckman. She's actually
really She was getting around the ground. She was decent, but
outside of that.
Yeah, that's it. Outside of Rowbottom and outside of the ruck,
a couple of players.
Yeah, a couple here and there. They're just they're a bit of a. They sort of remind me. They're not probably as bad, but as a GWS in the sense that. I'm a little worried about those expansion clubs because not a hell of a lot of talent is A, being, developed there, and B, is not going there. It's not like they're getting star players like, Hawthorn gets an expansion club and gets Bodie, Bates, Ashmore and Gilroy within minutes, whereas, the expansion clubs have struggled to sort of pull talent. So it's going to be hard for them to pull themselves out of the bottom 8, I guess. But not to worry when you're a North Melbourne supporter, I reckon.
No, that's it. We don't worry about them too much. Probably as much as they worry about us, really. So, but it feels like the job is probably only half done. Even though we spoke about this last week, you can't have a much better home and away season than going through undefeated and having a percentage of over 300 in the toughest draw in the competition, mind you, as well, Claire.
Yeah, it's a pretty formidable effort. If someone had said to me at the start of the season, you're not going to drop any points, or technically 2 to the Cats, but you're not going to drop anything. And I think, though, we spoke about on the podcast about how that round 1 win against Lions probably set us up in terms of what sort of brand and what sort of intent that North we're going to have this season, and in terms of returning back. Like, you can come back after a grand final loss with your tail between your legs, or you can come back with a vengeance and win it. And I hopefully, we were talking about patterns before. I hope that we're the men's version of the Lions, who come back after after their grand final, they lick their wounds and they come back firing. So that's the goal, that's the hope. But look, apart from who was it? Maybe Adelaide. The rest has sort of been quite easily managed, I would have said. Like, I don't think we've had really anyone challenge us. And that's kind of the level of football and the brand and style that we're playing, is that we're just pretty, like we said before, I can only see North not winning if it implodes within itself. And at this stage, I just don't see that happening, I guess.
I can't see it, to be honest with you, as well. I mean, I guess in games like Gold Coast Suns, where we're expected to win, they're near the bottom of the ladder. I mean, it's important to keep those standards high, and it certainly felt that way, didn't it? I mean, we didn't want to give an inch to the Suns, did we?
No, I think it was interesting. We were down the goal kicking end towards the cheer squad in the first quarter, and we were getting pretty frustrated with our inside 50 entries, and we kicked a couple of points, and then Gold Coast Suns kind of turned around and put on a goal. And I turned to a friend and I said, here we go. This is where they lived, because they'll get a fire up there, they'll get a cracker up their bums, and here we go. And it did. That's exactly what happened. Is I think they put on the next 5 goals, which is very North-like. So, it was important that the standards kept met. I also think, Dean, with all due respect, they're playing for their spots at this point. Like, sadly, Jenna Bruton probably walks back into the team against Adelaide on Friday. And then we know Captain Carney's coming in 2 weeks. So, not only are you playing to uphold the standards and the systems, but you're also potentially playing to keep your spot in the final series. So, it was a very professional win. I think I was very excited for Elise O'Loughlin. I think 4 goals look,
Yeah.
it remains to be seen, but you'd think that she'd be put into the team of the week. And as a direct result, I mean, she probably won't. But
No one gets in our team. No one
exactly.
from outside.
Oh, I'm sure they'll find 8 different Hawks players to put in, Dean. Yeah, no worries about that. But yeah, no, I'm pretty ecstatic with Elise O'Loughlin capping off the season with 4 because I think she had a really good start. Then she unfortunately got herself suspended for a bit. Then she just had patches, and I think she's going to be a really key, I guess, player come the final series. So, yeah, very professional, very good to watch, and yeah, and as always, Dean, it's a pretty easy watch when you're watching the North Women's. You sort of know in the back of your head, whatever Gold Coast can score will probably triple it by halftime. So yeah, it was a fantastic game to watch.
Yeah, it's a good way to finish off the year. I mean, you look at these spread of goal kickers throughout the season, just talking about a potent forward line. Kate Sheila, 15, Elise O'Loughlin, 14, Jasmine Garner, 13, out of the midfield, mind you. Talia Randall, 12, Bella Eddy, 8, Emma King, 7, Neve Martin, 7, Vicky Wall, 7. That's an incredible spread, isn't it? So many weapons down there.
Yeah, I think that's where the difficulty is for opposition backlines is, you can sit on Kate Sheila or Randall, but that just means Bella Eddy might get up and about. Or I think I'm very impressed with even Riddell at the start of the season was chipping in with some midfield goals. Taylor Gatz, they've just got score ability in everyone. It seems like anyone 4 to 50 who creeps in has the capacity to kind of go back and kick a set shot or to find a scoring opportunity. So yeah, I think it's interesting because the equivalent of the Coleman was I think a Geelong and a Brisbane player. One, I think Aisling Maloney and Taylor Smith or someone up in Brisbane ended up with 21 goals each. And I thought, how did Kate Sheila not get that far? And I think it's the spread. I think it's the fact that it's such a selfless forward line and they're all about working with each other and not about their own individual. Actually, in fact, I was talking to Ash Riddell after the game about it. They're so about the team unit that they don't care about their own stats. And she actually gave me a hot tip. She said she reckons the future captain of the club is going to be Bella Eddy. She reckons she's the smartest, brightest, most focused sort of young footballer she's ever had the I guess the privilege of playing with. So that's a bit of a hot tip. In maybe about 3 or 4 years' time, Bella Eddy could be the captain of the North Melbourne Women's Football Club. So yeah, I just think that it speaks volumes, Dean, of how just potent the attack is, and if you stop one, it's like a 3-headed snake. It just pops up with another head, So it'll be fascinating to see what Adelaide try to do next week to kind of quell that sort of attack, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about that fairly soon. I mean, just on Bella Eddy, I agree with a lot of Ash Riddell. That's very high praise, mind you. It's a good thing she wears number 3 because she does show glimpses of in the men's program, the number 3 that's worn there, Harry Sheasel, doesn't she?
Yeah, there's
especially inside that forward 50.
Oh, she's got deft touch. I think watching her, I remember against Richmond, she found space and she found time and she found the run and carry that the game lacked to sort of crack it open. I think North had its advantages but just couldn't capitalise in trying to getting a set play and a piece that would work out in a scoring involvement. And Bella Eddy, within the space of 30 seconds, knew where to put herself, got the handball from Garner and ran into an open goal. And just, I think she's not only a very smart footballer, she's got very good one touch, very classy. And as I said, she obviously has the leadership skills behind her, which is, a huge compliment, I think. I've loved her and I've loved watching O'Loughlin, and it's just there's so many different options out there. And look, Bella Eddy, I think also she was a high draft pick. I think she went first round, and I think she was the same season Crocker drafted her. So I think there's a nice little affinity between those two and them having their connection together as coach and player. But yeah, I think that she's going to be, if not already, is a star of the game, Bella Eddy.
Oh, I think she is. She's definitely right up there. I mean, it's just she plays with a team full of stars, and she's probably at the back end of it. So, yeah. We talked about goals, Claire, but goal assists as well. Now, you talked about unselfishness. if that's even a word. I'm not too sure. Randall is leading the league with 11 goal assists. Gat is fourth with 8. Bella Eddie, who we just talked about, fifth with 7. Ash Riddell and Jasmine Garner with 6. Then score involvements. We had Ash Riddell second in the comp with 58 and Jasmine Garner with 56. I mean, they are really unselfish as well, which is what makes a great team, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always the ability to try and find someone in a better position than you, and or set up your teammate in the best possible way. That really lends itself to, like you said, that really big even spread of different goal kickers. So yeah, and I think we spoke about it. We were talking on Twitter about how you said this team reminded you of the Cats, where that they were just playing this such an unselfish. I forget what the time period was. It
about 2007 or something like
yeah,
that. So yeah, for about 4 or 5 years.
yeah, they just had this ability to really always just sort of team first mentality and always try and find the person in a better position and set them up and support them through it. So yeah, it's incredible to watch. And even on the weekend, you saw Sheila handball it over and find Elise Lockett in the goal square instead of just going on her right and snapping it herself. So yeah, I think it's just the want and need of everyone to get better and work as a team. So it's good to watch. It was great. I think they kicked about 12 odd goals on the weekend, which is wonderful. Watch. It's fascinating as well because I saw Garner got a goal. She got it down the other end, so I didn't see it cleanly. But I was sort of thinking it's Garner or Adele to see who gets the 3 votes here. And I think maybe Garner would have pinched the 3 votes in that game off Riddell. So that's going to be an interesting tight Brownlow count, I would have thought.
Yeah, who do you, just on that, who's your prediction for the BNF this year? I mean, it will be pretty close between Garner and Riddell. I think the last few weeks, Garner's probably just pipped her.
Yeah,
with you.
I do think it will be, Garner. I think it's just the score involvements. And I think the game against Adelaide, Garner's 2 goals were probably the difference. That being said, obviously, Ash does a lot of clearance work and a lot of stoppage work. And, in that last quarter, she was right there tackling to the very end. So, I would say I think Garner will just edge her out, which, that's all right. They're 2 guns. They're best friends. My biggest issue is that, and not that they'd care, but, I think Riddell will steal votes off Garner. So Marinoff will probably end up with a league-wide best and fairest award, which, good luck to her. But I would have preferred Garner just quietly.
I don't think she's ever going to win it, even if she got 40 touches a game and kicked 5 goals a game. She's got screwed the last couple of years, so she's definitely not going to. Yeah, she's definitely not going to win it this year. But yeah, what can you do?
We can dream.
Yeah, I don't think she cares about that. I've had her on a podcast before, and she's never really worried too much about it. It'd be nice for her to win for us.
Yeah, exactly.
For herself, it doesn't. Yeah, she's very calm. She's very level-headed. It doesn't boost her ego anymore or anything like that. So, which is the main thing. So, what are some of the? Might as well talk about the season. What are been some of the highlights of the season for you? Maybe a top 3. I mean, there's been a lot, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has been a lot. I think up there would have to be the revenge game against the Lions, round 1. That 6-goal quarter was just phenomenal.
The third quarter, yeah.
Yeah, that third quarter was just, if ever I'm having a bad time, I'll just go back and watch that third quarter again, to be honest. I'd say that would be probably close to 1. Number 2, I mean, look, getting that win against, because for me, it's about playing the best and winning against the best. So I would say the win against Adelaide was pretty important. Coming off the 5-day break, coming off the, at Norwood as well, which is also always hard to beat the Crows at home. So I think that would probably be a close 2. And a 3 is probably a bit odd. And I know it's not a specific game, but I think for me this season, number 3 would be watching that next tier of players like your Amy Smiths, like your Tripodis, like your Gats, all kind of take the next step in their development and their like I guess them evolving as players and them being able to sort of contribute to the team would be my top 3. And that's just on the fly, but I'm sure I could find plenty more. Do you have any, I guess, top moments of the season, Dean?
Beating Essendon, and not just beating them,
of course,
but
smashing
absolutely,
them.
intimidating. Within 10 minutes of that game, they've just sort of said, let's just minimise the damage. We can't win this. They're far too good. You could see it in their body language.
Yeah.
They would get the ball inside 50 and they'll just bomb it to the middle because they'd have 16 players in the back line.
Yeah.
And, Libby Birch will drop a mark, go chat to someone for 5 minutes, come back, pick up the ball, handball to Jasmine Ferguson because they just wanted to keep players flooded in the back line. So, it was, that was really good to see. I mean, watching Jasmine Garner anytime. I've really loved the development of Mia King as that third midfielder.
Yeah.
And that's almost a discredit to her that she's, the third midfielder. She's a much better player than that. She does all the grunt work. She does. At stoppages, you'll see her just charge in. And, get the ball out to Jazz Garner, and I'm sure those girls really appreciate it.
Oh, 100%. They're like the forwards; they all work for each other. I have no I imagine when they're in that midfield meeting, like they're all, Jazzy and Ash would regard Mia as highly as Mia would regard them. I think, which is good. But you're right. In any other team, she'd be the star quality midfielder, and we'd be wrapping her up. But I think we still give her a lot of praise on this podcast, and we still love her. Love her work, but right. So the Windy Hill, the what was your second? Mia King? No.
Just the development of Mia King. I really watched. Love watching her go about her business. I guess the return of form of Emma King this year as well. She had a bit of an indifferent year last year. I really enjoyed that. So because there's a lot of talk about her getting out of the team. During the finals, and she did find form in the finals just at the right time.
Yeah,
but, seeing her, get that confidence back, just probably beating up on Daria Bannister as well because and Brooke Brown, Talia Randall just ragdolling her a couple of times. That was a couple. I think a lot of more highlights have come against Essendon, to be honest with you.
You know what? It's so funny. I regret driving back that day. To be honest, Dean, I regret turning the car around. Because if I hadn't known the result, I would have lapped it up. But look, it is always nice to put the fear of God in Windy Hill FC, and and I think that game also really spoke to the differences of who are legitimate finals teams and who are not. And I just don't think that Essendon are a legitimate final team, to be honest, especially with Too Good that it's out at the moment. So it'll be fascinating to watch.
Well, I'm surprised. Was it Fremantle just got over the line against GWS last night, and they're in the finals as well. So no, Port Adelaide. Sorry. That was. I'm thinking, geez, and you're in the finals too. So I think a lot of it has to do with the draw, Claire. If you get a bit of a lucky draw,
absolutely, Dean. Absolutely.
I mean, look at the teams that have missed out: Geelong and Melbourne. That's a bit of a shock to me. I think they're. If anyone was getting threatened to push for a top 14, it would be one of both those teams, and they've sort of missed finals. So makes life a lot easier for a lot.
I'm ecstatic that they've missed. I'm ecstatic that they've missed as much as I am also happy that Hawks are in, because I just think they'll become fodder. I think it's Adelaide, us, and Lions, and anyone else is just frankly making up the numbers. And that, I'm not even being disrespectful. Like, I just think that is the massive gap of difference that is between those three teams and who else is in the game. Anyone else, if they make a prelim, it'll just be out of luck, to be honest.
I think Hawthorn will get a bit of a reality check against the Lions this week.
I personally can't wait for that, because I think they robbed the Lions. I'm not big on, I respect the Brisbane Lions. I respect their club and what they've been able to do with their women's program. I think they invested at the right time, and I think they really respect the women's game. But I think it's abhorrent that Hawks were able to win that McCullum Trophy. I just think it's bullshit. Sorry to swear on the podcast, but I just think that it's robbery in the sense that. Their men's ended up finishing, I think, fifth, and they finished second. And Brisbane have got they're currently premiers on both sides of the spectrum, on both their women's and their men's. So make it make sense to me, Dean. But look, it is what it is, and I just wish our girls got 500k in their back pocket, because they're the ones that deserve it. Going undefeated.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know what the incentive is or a contract abate, for each player or anything like that. Oh, I mean, I guess the top tier players still would probably get six figures, but then you're sort of talking about a bit of a pay cut after that. And you sort of see a lot of the AFLW girls that play have got another job as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they kind of have to, don't they? So because it's not you can't survive on it. Not this day and age with inflation the way it is. Yeah, cost of living. And,
But Ash Riddell's teaching her guts out 4 days a week and playing professional footy on the weekends. So yeah, it's not covering the bill of someone who potentially could win a AFL. Well, she finished second in the AFLW award last year. So yeah, I think it does go. That money actually does go a long way, especially with the women's program. So yeah, I'm a bit dirty in the fact that our girls didn't get it, but hopefully they get a little bonus check when they win the flag anyway. So happy days.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we might buy them a beer, I suppose, Claire or something. That might.
I did actually say to Sarah Wright, because she read my article and she actually said, it wasn't her that got pinged for the 50 metre. It was Erica O'Shea. And I said, the offer still stands. I do still owe you a slab if we win. She's like, absolutely, you do.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, okay, you name your choice and I'll be there at Arden Street with whatever you want after the grand final, babe.
Yeah, that sounds good. Nothing wrong with that. So I would be happy to pay for that.
Absolutely.
It's a small price to pay, especially if you did win a premiership. Now, finals here. Enough of the home and away season, Claire. Now we've got the Crows this week. I think you were kind of hoping for maybe a bit of a, was it Fremantle? That you were sort of asking how much do they have to win by to sneak into fourth. Now I worked it out while I was looking at that. It would have had to be about 19 goals. That didn't happen, unfortunately, Claire. So we've got the Crows. I mean, do they pose a threat?
Look, would have loved Freo. Freo and Melbourne would have just been a dish to dine out on. I'm always worried about the Crows. In terms of matchups, we beat them in a prelim by 1 point. We beat them as recently as I think it was week 9 or round 9 or whatever it was by 8 points. So they're the ones that have got the closest to us. They pose a pretty big threat. I think they'd be stupid not to try and tag Garner this time round. I just don't. When she's done that much damage, I just can't see them trying to, quell her. And whether or not Riddell and King or other Tripodi for that reason maybe gets off the leash, I think they'll put some more time into Marinoff as well. I think the biggest threat will be Caitlin Gould. I know she kicked through on the weekend and they do rely on her quite heavily for inside 50 marks and what she sort of brings. But I do have to say I'm pretty stoked with, as much as I'd love it to be at Arden Street, pretty happy with Icon in the sense it's quite...
We play that ground well. So
we play very well. And I think also it's wide. It's a very wide ground, which lends itself to a lot of run and carry and a lot of transition. Mm-hmm. And I think if you've got Gat, O'Shea, Craven, Brejnahan ready to sort of use those wings and run and carry, I think our transition game will open up a lot for us. Whereas if you look at Adelaide, they actually prefer it in and tight. They like the chip mark game. They got something like 20 more mucks than us when we're over in Norwood the other day. So they
like to control the tempo of the game. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah. They really like that. Whereas we're a little bit more flashy and a little bit more like a bit of speed on the ball. But then also we can win it in tight as well. We win the contested possessions as well. So, I think, and Danielle Ponta always scares me because she always seems to pop up and play well against us. So I'll be fascinated to see who gets the job on Ponta this week. But yeah, look, you're right. Adelaide Crows off at your own peril. I think they're a very professional outfit. I think there's a reason why they've won so many AFLW premierships, and they'll be ready to kind of come at us fully loaded. I think it's helped that they've had to come to Geelong and they'll have to travel to Melbourne again, and that works to our favour. But I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a couple of goals either way to each side. So what do you think? What's your prediction, I guess, for the game?
I think it'll have its patches where it'll be tight, but I think we'll have a couple of 10-minute spells where we'll kick 3 or 4 goals and we'll blow the game open.
Okay.
And that's what's been happening all year. Look, I mean, it'd be great if we could be at our best, But even not at our best, we're still a very good contested team, and we wear teams down in the
Yeah.
contest, and then we'll get them on the outside in the second half. That's what seems to be the keys to how we've played this year. Plus, we've got those big forwards. You get the ball in there. I know you talked about earlier the inside 50 entries in the first quarter against Gold Coast. But weighted numbers, eventually it's going to turn around. You can't keep stopping it. And if we get those weighted numbers again, there's going to be some bad patches for the Crows. And, as much as they've got good matchups for Randall and Sheila and all that, eventually it's just going to wear you down. And tall players don't get any shorter as the games go on.
Yeah.
I think we will win by 4+ goals. To be honest.
Wow, I mean, I'm absolutely obsessed with that confidence. Like I said, I wish I could adopt your confidence every week because
I just don't think anyone's close to us at the moment.
Yeah,
at our best, finals,
at our best, I agree. It's just that all it took for Crows in that last quarter is to have two quick goals inside a couple of minutes, and they were sort of back in the contest. So, I'm hoping that North come out and like you said, you're right. When they play 5 to 7 minute patches of football and put on 3 goals, other teams can't match us. And another big thing is I think we're the fittest club in the league.
Yeah.
Like we just outrun everyone, and like even Amy Smith, I watched on the weekend some of her running patterns. She just goes all day. She just does not stop. And so I think I'd like to say I think we will win. I just think that it'll be, a 2-goal max margin, just because I think Crows will try and keep it tight. Yeah, real try to keep it tight and not let us use our weapons on the outside. But I think it might, like you said, it might just be a couple of patches here and there where we're able to kind of score quickly and score in a dense sort of fashion that we're able to sort of put a bit of a distance between us and them and see what happens. But I'll be fascinated in how they match up with Ghana, because I don't see a world where they don't try and tag her at this point.
But it probably takes things away from Marinoff and Hatchard if you go that tag. I mean, that's their strength as well, their midfield.
Yeah.
So I think it makes more sense to go head to head, because Ghana, we've found is almost impossible to tag. Because she'll just push forward to the contest, and we'll push another, like a Ruby Tripodi in that midfield to help out me, King and Riddell, and play a 4 midfield, 4 versus 4 after the centre bounce, and we'll still get the clearances, and all we have to do is break even there, because we've got the weapons up in attack anyway, and we will kick goals. So I don't know. That's that's probably something they're talking about, how to stop her, but I think we've just got too many weapons. I mean, maybe a couple of years ago that might have worked. Because we probably relied on Ghana a little bit more. But now it's just too even. There's too many weapons in there. I mean, Riddell's in a league of her own. She's not far behind Ghana, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
With the amount of touches she gets and metres she gains. Mia King's a quality player, probably in the top 15, 20 players in the competition. So, I mean, good luck to him. But, I just think we've got... too many weapons. Do you think we put any time and effort into like an Marinoff, who's I think leading the league in the most possessions per game? I think she's averaging like 30 possessions per game this year.
Yeah, no, I guess the same reasons that you gave as to not why to I guess tag Ghana. Like if you want to sip Tripodi on her for a bit for patches, I don't mind that. Even just for her own growth and development as a player, it's always good to watch and be beside some of the best in the league, and she already is at training though. So my biggest interest I think will be Caitlin Gould and who will go to her and Ponta, because we're a good defensive unit, but we're not a tall defensive unit. And I think Caitlin Gould has everyone covered by about 10 centimetres or so. So I wonder how they'll try to push her up the ground and try to sort of bully her into different sort of positioning, because I think she can really get off the leash and do some damage there. And I think there'll be a lot of... If Adelaide are to win, Gould has to kick probably 3, and Ponta has to chip in as well. So I would put Birch on Ponta. I'd sit her on her for the entire game. And I'd just maybe Righty on Gould, or maybe Ferguson. I'm not sure yet. But Yeah, I'll be fascinated to see how they match up with the Adelaide the forward line rather.
No, it'll be interesting. Generally, Libby Birch has played. I mean, there's always one of those three that's generally loose.
Yeah.
We always seem to drop that number behind the ball, and we seem to get a lot of intercepts. So as long as the pressure's on up the field, which we've done pretty much all year,
Yeah.
and we'll continue to do, then we force the long kick and we get the intercepts, and then we can transition quite quickly. But so I'm not too worried about. There'll be, there'll be periods where Birch is on good, and then there's Ferguson on good, and someone else is loose, like a Sarah Wright or something like that. So, I mean, I think there's only been one team this year that's kicked more than 2 goals in a row against us, and that was Geelong in round 2. They kicked 3. Outside of that, no team, has kicked more than 2. I know the Crows kicked 2 the last time we played them in that last quarter, but we shut the game down pretty well when they get close, which is a good lesson. And it just adds another arsenal to our attack. If we need to shut the game down, Claire, and we're up by 10 points with 5 minutes to go, I think we're more than capable of doing that.
Yeah, that is definitely a different sort of way to style to know that they can lock it down, and they locked it down for I reckon 9 minutes of that last quarter. They just went into complete contest mode. It was fascinating to watch, and it was pleasing to see. So you're right. Even if a team did get on a roll, I'm sure North would have the capacity to change tempo and stop the flow and stop the bleed for a considerable amount of time, and then sort of refresh it maybe quarter time and see what the objective is. So yeah, it is interesting. I'm just fascinated in how Adelaide will come back and bite, because they've probably got some of the best data a couple of weeks ago from us, and they've got a lot of a qualifying final. There's a lot on the line. It's the double chance, but it kind of guarantees you that when you go into the prelim with that sort of break off, it kind of guarantees you'd say a grand final spot. So I think they will throw the absolute kitchen sink at us, and I guess we'll see what we've got to fire back at them.
No, that's no. I mean, they can throw whatever they want at us, but I'm pretty sure we'll just hook it for 6 and do a bit of baseball. So whatever they throw at us, all the short stuff, we'll just hook it out of the ground. Now I'm going to name this little segment the Glenn Freeborn Award. Now, Glenn Freeborn is famous for that second quarter in 1996 where he kicked 3 goals when we were down to get us back in the game. The reason I asked this question, Claire, who's going to be the Glenn Freeborn on Friday night? The player that's not Jasmine Garner, that's not that big tier player, that's going to have a big impact, you think?
Yeah, great question. I want to stick with my Vicky Wall selection, because I picked her a couple of weeks ago, and she always seems to bob up. Vicky, she always sort of she's a crush the packs, and I think she's going to love finals. I think Vicky, because remember she did have the year off, and I think she's hungry for it. I think she's ready to go, and I know she's played in some pretty big crowds back in Ireland, and obviously she was pretty close to playing rugby sevens. I think this is her time to shine. I think she's well and truly. I think she might not kick 3, but I can see her kicking 2 and helping with score assisting and just taking some real big tackles and being a part of the score involvement, I guess. So I'm going to go Vicky Wall. Who are you nominating?
I might go Neve Martin this week.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah,
I think she'll kick a couple and get a couple of goal assists just to apply that forward half pressure. So she might only get 8-10 touches.
Yeah,
but I think she'll get 5 tackles, 2 goals, and a couple of goal assists. She'll be very effective.
Yeah, she's quality, isn't she? Yeah, she's quality player.
Very good player. Yeah. Considering she got dropped earlier in the season,
yeah.
for not her fault, it was just who was available at the time, and you couldn't imagine that now. She's definitely an important part. You see, even seen that last game we played against the Crows, she actually pushed up into midfield to force another contest.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit of the Irish as well. And I don't know whether you saw, but Erica O'Shea was with half of Cork after.
Yeah, I did see that.
After the game, I said, "This is how we continue to stay on top. We just got to draft all these Gaelic women and get them across." But yeah, I think the Irish have taken well and truly. People have tapped into that market and see how valuable they are. And I think in terms of the best ones in the league, I think O'Shea Wall and Martin are pretty much up there, I think, in terms of quality and what they offer, and even just the run and the carry and the flair, I think is pretty amazing to watch. So, all right, you've got one Irish girl and I've got the other Irish girl. We'll see who wins.
Yeah. We'll have a little side bet for that. Any concerns with a 6-day break going into finals? I mean, the Crows get an extra day, but I suppose it doesn't surprise us with how shit the fixture has been this year anyway.
Yeah, look, no shock there. Pretty sure that the girls are sort of aware. When I spoke to Riddell after the game, she was already kind of aware. So I think the club internally knew what was going to happen and how to prepare for that. Yeah, look, Friday night football, it's very exciting, I think, for us. So I think, the 6-day versus 7-day kind of negates the idea of starting off a finals fixture and North being the centrepiece of that and being the prime time slot. I think is very exciting for the club and hopefully it gets packed out, Icon. So, yeah, I think having it at home definitely gives us an advantage, I guess, at Icon. I don't know how big, maybe 2 to 3 goals. I guess we'll see on the weekend. But, yeah, I know a lot of people, the people that I hang out with and watch the game with, are a bit frustrated with the time slot. I think they were hoping for something a Saturday afternoon that would be more viable. But I think Friday night football is the best type of football. So, I guess anytime, any place, anywhere, we can beat them.
No, I could play Wednesday night for all I care. We'll knock them off there, so it doesn't bother me. So, yeah, happy to get Friday night. We invented Friday night football, so it makes sense that we conquer it once again, this Friday night and get ourselves into the prelim. I'm pretty confident about 27 points, but we'll get over the line. So.
Jeez, yeah, you've gone. I love it. I love the confidence. I'll go 14. I think
14 points.
Yeah, I think
14. Comfortable enough.
Yeah, look, there'll be patches where I'm sort of like they might kick one and I get panicked, but I think pound for pound, I'll no doubt I'll be probably clinging to your arm or texting you at halftime. We'll be up by 4 goals and you'll be like, Claire, relax. But that's just the fear of that's just bloody the Petrenko goal from Adelaide that haunts me still. So it's the ghost of Jared Petrenko. No, look, 14 points and no injuries is pretty much my absolute. I don't know. I mean, I think Eliza Shannon, unfortunately, gets stopped.
She misses.
She didn't do a lot wrong, but it's just that you can't not have Jenna Bruton in the team, I think. So I think it was an interesting choice to put Shannon in. I think it's always good to keep players fresh and on their toes and, whatever happens in finals, we know that we've got a healthy defender to back us up, which is good. But I think the class and polish of Jenna Bruton, we know what she can do in that third quarter against Adelaide. So why not chuck her in at Friday night and see what can happen?
Yeah, I obviously got Lulu Puller can't get a game either. It was a very good. He had a very good year last year. Unfortunately, she misses out. And you've probably got to think about players that do miss out, and when your team is successful.
Awful.
Unfortunately, Eliza Shannon will miss this week, unless there's a last-minute injury or anything, which we don't want. But you got to have Jenna Bruton in the team. She was a big reason why we won last year, Claire, against the Adelaide Crows in the prelim. So especially I think you might have mentioned it in your Substack. The article, was it last week or the week before, where she had a big third quarter.
Yeah, huge. It was like 13 touches and 4 inside 50s. And she dominated that. She's honestly the reason why we got to play in that grand final. So,
100%.
Yeah, hopefully she's fit and firing and ready to go on Friday night and they're up and about. I think we said off air, I think North will take a different, not that they did anything wrong last final series, but I think there was a lot of emotion in it. And there was this, they were not overawed, but I think beating Melbourne and beating Adelaide, there was this real sense of them going from not only being in the top 4, but being now a contender. And I think this year, the difference is that they're the team that's kind of being hunted, Dean. They're the top of the, it's kind of isolating being on the top of the ladder because you end up being the sort of the person that gets hunted at. So I think they're going to be ultra professional in this final series, and I think it's going to be play by play, week by week. I think minute by minute, and I'll be fascinated to see. Yeah, I think you've got don't want to breadcrumb you, but like I think you said, you might have one of the girls on tomorrow, which is exciting, and it'll be fascinating to see her insights into how they prepare for this kind of particular final series, knowing that they're at the top of the ladder and they're the ones in the box seat. I think it's a very different viewpoint, I guess, this season in 2024.
No, that's right. You're sort of, you're the hunted now. But, if you're going to finish on top of the ladder, I guess you've got to expect it. So, yeah, that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But, I think they're all pretty much level-headed girls. And, I think they'll, won't get too far ahead of themselves. And, yes, I should have an AFLW star player on tomorrow afternoon. So, at this stage anyway, Claire, I don't want to spoil anything just in case it doesn't come through.
Absolutely.
Well, Claire, any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, I just see you at the footy on Friday night, Dean. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've already got my tickets. Make sure you get your tickets as well. So, just like Claire. But, Claire, thanks so much for coming on. I'm sure I might see you on Friday night, or I'll chat to you at some point. Thanks so much for coming on, and go Roos.
Go Roos. Thanks, Dean. Bye.
No, thank you, Claire. And thank you to all you local listeners as well for tuning in on YouTube today. Like and subscribe, leave comments, push that notification bell as well. I'll probably be back tomorrow, but not 100% confirmed, but I should be back tomorrow. Have an AFLW guest star on, and then maybe do a game review later in the week. And look out for that. Anyways, until then, bye for now, and go Roos. Thanks, Claire.